Welcome to Healthy and Wealthy Conversations, where we discuss everything that leads to health and wellness for your whole spirit, soul, mind, and body. Welcome to another episode of Healthy and Wealthy Conversations. I'm your host, Casey Bell, and today's guest is Bridgette L. Collins. Let's get the show started. So, most of your books are on the topic of health and wellness. Were you raised in that kind of home, or how did you get into the lifestyle of focusing on your health and wellness?
Probably I would say in my mid to late 20s, had more fat than I wanted to have. And it's kind of like, okay, so what is it that I can do, uh, to start, shedding some of this excess body fat? And so, about the time that I had gotten an HR recruiter job, which was in a different city, and I was commuting between Houston and Huntsville, my supervisor for that recruiting job was a runner. And so he would always encourage me to come and join him in his running group to run. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that sounds like a lot of effort. I ain't trying to sweat, first of all. I ain't trying to mess up my hair, second of all. And so just over a period of time, I joined the gym and Balance Total Fitness. And because you just know, like you say, once you come into that awareness that the body fat just not going to go away without some effort being involved. And so was just inspired at that time to join the gym. And, I don't want to single out a race or anything, but, I would be on the treadmill walking and I'd see, like these young, thin white girls just kind of like running on the treadmill. And I just thought, wow, I'd want to be able to do that one day. And so, it's like I took the little walk to a trot on the treadmill. Then I kind of, raised a little speed. And so over a period of time, I got to be like the white girls running on the treadmill. And so, but coupled with that, knew I needed to make some dietary changes, because probably at that time, I don't know, we had Burger King and they had the Whopper. They still got the Whopper. Well, that was one of my favorite meals, the Whopper and the fries. And the Whopper was 99 cents. So you just couldn't beat that. You get this big gigantic burger. And so that was just kind of like my diet, so it's like I knew I had to make some changes, stop eating the Whopper, stop eating the fried chicken at the fried chicken establishments, and started cooking and preparing my own meals, baking the chicken, brown rice, fresh broccoli, doing more fish, uh, doing less carbs, cutting out, and like I say, at that time I was in my late 20s. So, drinking was kind of like a hallmark. You go to the party, you just can't not be the one that's not drinking. So even that I had to figure out, it's kind of like, well, you got to kind of figure out how to contain that alcohol consumption, because kind of like I talk in the book, those books is about how many calories is in the Blue Hawaii. And that might be like 500 or 600 calories right there. How many calories in the margarita? That might be 7 or 8, depending on what serves and what brand of alcohol you're using and how much that consumption is if you having 3 margaritas. And so, so I knew I had to make some changes and drink more water and all of that kind of stuff. So um that that was later in life. So it's not like I grew up doing sports or anything like that. I actually attended the high school for performing arts. I was a piano major, so my school didn't even have sports in high school. College, I think I may have taken like a tennis class, or and at some point I think I took like a gymnastics class, but that was college. And so now, it's just kind of like, now I'm in my mid to late 20s and figuring out what do I need to do to be healthier and fitter. So at that time, as I was starting to do all of that, is when, my supervisor would talk about running and this and that. And so one day, little town that I was in, they had like a little track that you could just run around this track. And it's kind of like, I never went to his group, but it was kind of like, how some stuff, when you're insecure, and it's kind of like, well, I just need to do this on my own right quick, by myself. And I ain't trying to show people what I'm doing. It's just like, let me go out, do my own thing. And so left him, moved to Dallas, and I met some folks, and they say, oh, we've got this park that people go to, and they run and they do all of this. And it's like, wow, that would be pretty interesting. I'd like to, if y'all could take me, I'd like to go there. And just life, just when I moved to Dallas, just took a whole new direction, to where got into the running, that's when I figured out I wanted to be a personal trainer. I have my little side hustle doing that. Went through a couple of certification programs and got certified as a personal trainer. Work part-time. Now I'm back at Balance Total Fitness, but now I'm one of their part-time personal trainers. And so later after that, started my own running program after being with some running groups and training for my first marathon in 1999. And so that's just how life evolved from that.
Awesome. So I know you said you had I believe just in time fitness business. So just to help those, let's say, because I know sometimes you get clients who come to you and say, I've been doing this, nothing's working. And most times it's, as humans, we expect to see results immediately. And we know when it comes to your health and wellness, it takes anywhere from 6 to 20 months before you really get to your final goals. And unfortunately, we're so impatient that we start and we don't understand the moment you stop, you have to really start all from the beginning. That even if you did it for 3 months, you stopped a month and you start up again, you're really starting again at month 1.
Exactly.
And so what advice would you give people if they come to you as a client, to stay encouraged and not necessarily, focused on the results, why it's important, this lifestyle you're starting, why it's important to keep it regardless of the results?
So my message to people is, first of all, find an activity that's going to keep you motivated, engaged for the rest of your life. That's first and foremost. Because if you understand it's just not for the immediate, that I'm trying to lose weight for the class reunion, or we're getting ready to go on a cruise and I want to be able to wear a 2-piece, or if I'm wearing the 1-piece, yada, yada, yada. And so it's kind of like, that's all fine, but you might not get, if that's just like, here we are in February and you're thinking about the cruises in June or July, well, you may not be where you want to be. You will have made some small steps and some strides to maybe have lost a certain percentage of body fat, depending on how committed that you're going to be, and that's fine. But I want you to think about it for the long haul. When I became a runner in the late 90s, it's like I had found my activity that if the Lord bless me, I'll get to be able to do well into my 60s, 70s, and 80s. Because when I went in, it was a commitment for the lifetime. It just wasn't for that immediate to lose some body weight. This is what I do. And this is what I've done for 20 plus years. And I pray that I get to do it for another 20 plus years. So first, let's think about changes in terms of longevity. And that whatever you decide, whether that's cycling, swimming, Zumba. If you like Zumba, well, that just means you're going to have to do Zumba for the next 20 plus years, because that's the activity that you found that has inspired and will keep you motivated to stay fit and physically active. For everybody is different. I don't try to encourage everybody to be a runner just because Bridgette is a runner. I say find what's going to work for you, that you'll do it for the rest of your life. And so when you think about that, hopefully that's the first step of a motivational tool. Don't just think about it for the immediate, think about whatever you engage in as for the long haul. And so that those changes, as you talk about, or may not be immediate, but they're going to happen as long as you're progressive in your approach and consistent. And that's just not with fitness, being physically active. That's what you consume too. It's like yesterday, I just made up in my mind, Casey, that it was Valentine's Day and I wanted to go to the Cheesecake Factory and give me a slice of cheesecake. Now, it's been a long time since I've been to the Cheesecake Factory, and I don't ever remember them having the calorie count for the cheesecakes.
Wow.
And so the one I got was like 1,400. I got to be honest with you, Casey. I mean, it was some coconut cream cheesecake, and I tell you, it's like my goal was to only eat half of it. Because if I eat half of it, well, that's 700 calories. You know, I can work that off. Well, Casey, I have to be honest with you, that didn't happen. I ate the whole cheesecake. So that meant I had to run to the gym this morning because I just figured, Casey, it's going to take me about 3 or 4 days to work off that one slice of cheesecake. Not a whole cheesecake, one slice of cheesecake. It's going to take me 3 or 4 days to work that off. And I'm okay with that because that's like, that's a rarity for me. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I eat the little Oreo cookies like, but they the healthy kind. They not, you know, I'm just saying. But my diet is going to be grilled salmon, uh, trout, turkey burgers, baked chicken with some vegetable, with some kind of rice or sweet potato. That's my normal. And so people have to get to that point to where your splurge is an exception and not the norm. Because it's okay, you know, because it's like, well, no, when I go to my cousin's house for Thanksgiving, I want to eat everything that I think I like that's good, I'm going to eat it. When I go to the other cousins for Christmas, I'm going to do the same. 4th of July, I'm going to do the same. But if 80% of what you're eating is good and nutritious for your body, that's helping to keep you disease free, because that should, once again, that should be the ultimate goal too, to get off your high blood pressure medication, to get off any cholesterol. If you have diabetes, to get it better under control and to safeguard yourself from any illnesses that might just crop up, arthritis as you get older. And so hopefully that in itself is going to inspire people to say, you know what, I think I can do that. I know the weight's not going to come off overnight, that is going to be a process. I know I need to make some better eating choices. Yeah, I can have those cheat days, those splurge days, but to recognize that that has to be the exception and not the norm, because it's for the rest of my life. It's just not for the immediate, it's for the remainder of my life. So hopefully I don't get cancer. I don't get some other debilitating disease because I'm not eating foods on a regular that's going to cause inflammation in my body. I don't drink Cokes no more. This is what that person is hopefully saying to themselves. You know, I don't have all the acid going into my body and I wonder why that pain won't go away. Well, it could be the sugar from, you know, the foods that you're eating that's causing inflammation in the body. They help people understand if you do drink a Coke, it should just be at the family reunion, just to say you haven't had one in months and Sundays. It should not be the norm. I sure hope that answered your question, Casey.
Yes, it did. It very much did.
Because
Um,
I start talking, Casey, and then it's kind
it's
of like, well, did I answer his question?
You did. You very much did. I thank you for that. Hopefully, it'll help someone. So, next
Mm.
question. From your experience dealing with your clients, is there a myth about health or fitness that came up regularly that you had to dispose?
Um, I can't think of any myths that people may share with me. You know, when they come to me, it's all about what is it ideally that you're wanting to do and why. And then hopefully to plant the seed that, you know, if it's to get off your high blood pressure medication, it's like, let's look. I'm not a dietitian or a nutritionist, but I know enough to say, well, if you're eating fast food more often than you should, or you're one of the people that add salt to your food, regardless of if you think, you know, it's not salty enough. Um, those are just some changes that you can make that hopefully when you go back to your doctor, he's like, oh, your blood pressure is looking a lot better. You know, if you keep going on at this rate, maybe we can take you off that medication. If someone has high cholesterol, it's kind of like, oh, okay, so are you okay with, you know, being on high cholesterol medication, or is it like a goal to get off of it? And hopefully for most people that I've had the experience with those scenarios, the goal is to get off the medication. So what does that look like in terms of your diet? Because in all actuality, Casey, people will do exercise, and sometimes it's not for the long haul. They're doing it for, you know, to get some immediate results. But once you just keep encouraging folks that it should be for the long haul, you know, hopefully you can get them to do that, because now we're setting goals. It's kind of like, oh, let's get you in register for this 5K, so that gives you something to work towards. Oh, okay, you did the 5K, you finished it in 45 minutes. Let's see if we can get you signed up for another 5K. Let's see if you can shave off 5 minutes and complete it in 40 minutes. It's like goals that will keep them inspired to be better for the next event. But it's that nutritional piece that really is what people have to, in their mind, say, you know what, I got to do it and I got to stick with it. And I guess what I found for most people, alcohol is the biggest killer, because everybody, when they go out, you know, it's like they will have a cocktail that's high in calories. Now, if you have a glass of wine might be 150 to 250. And so that's manageable. But a lot of people like to get the margaritas and the daiquiris and the drinks that have a lot of ingredients that's subject to be anywhere from 5 to 1,000 calories. And usually I find that that's the hardest thing for people to give up, especially depending on their age, if they like happy hour kind of folks, and, you know, people that's very social with their family gatherings. And so uh, just, you know, trying to help people to understand whatever you do, just think in terms of longevity for the long haul, for the remainder of your life. But as far as myths, I can't really think of any that, you know, people have shared with me and I've had to dispel for one reason or another.
All right, great. Two more questions for you, then I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
So, if someone signed up with you, what can they expect as far as the health and fitness journey?
Well, the first thing is the why. You know, why are you doing? What changes are you wanting to make and why? And hopefully that is because of them coming to the conclusion that they want to be healthier for the long haul, for themselves, for their spouse, for their children, for their grandkids. And then let's look at what you're currently doing. What does a typical week look like in terms of activity? in terms of nutrition. And so people will usually say, you know what, I think I eat pretty good. It's kind of like, yeah, I eat uh fried chicken, but I take the skin off. Oh, okay, so that's good because there's a lot of cholesterol and fat in that skin. So did you cook it yourself or did you eat it out? Oh no, I don't cook fried chicken, make the house smell. So no, I get my fried chicken out somewhere. Oh, okay. So they probably use, some oil that we don't know what oil a lot of the restaurants are using. So it's good that you're removing the fat, but that oil, that content is still, if it's deep fried inside the meat of the chicken, and you don't know what that is, that could, contribute to some health concerns. And so when you really analyze thoroughly what people are eating, it's kind of like, you know what? I'm usually hungry about 9:30, 10, just something just comes over me and I want to eat something. So I just have me like, a bag of M&Ms because I figure, well, they're just 250 calories. And so what's the harm in eating that right at bedtime? It's kind of like, oh, okay. So what if we not buy peanut M&Ms? Because sometimes just the virtue of it being in the house is temptation, and just have you like some little celery sticks, something crunchy, at bedtime that's got water, contains water, and it has vitamin C in it. It's going to be more nutritious for the body. So really, we're sitting down and analyzing every phase of their life. What does your workday look like? Oh, it's like I have a high stress work day. I really don't get to eat until I get home. Oh, okay. So you go like 8, 9 hours and you don't eat anything. No, because I don't have time to eat anything. It's like, okay, so let's talk in terms of food prep and what that could look like. I mean, I know you're just not on your feet for a total of 8 or 9 hours. It's kind of like, I'm sure you get some intermittent breaks in there some kind of way. Well, that could just be some intermittent, intake of something nutritious. Is analyzing everything that's going on in their lives. It's kind of like, so are you single? Are you married? You have a partner? You have children? What does that look like once you get home? It's like, we just get one of those frozen pizzas and everybody, we just put that in the oven and it's just something quick and, or we Uber Eats out and so they bringing us whatever they bringing us in. Okay, so now it's kind of like if it's someone with a family, Casey, now it's kind of like what's suffering most is the family. Why is it suffering? Because we're not together anymore. It's like, well, now that's a great opportunity for you all to go to the grocery store, select some products to, engage, after work, after school with one another, prepping stuff, cutting up some tomatoes, making some spaghetti, some homemade spaghetti, making your homemade sauce. And so really that's what it's all about when they come to me, cases, really analyzing every facet of their life, because we need to understand that before we can tailor make a plan for you and the things that are going on in your respective life. There's no one size fit all because everybody's lives are different. You got the spouse that they ain't ready to do nothing healthy and healthy eating yet. So what does that mean? You eat bad because they eat bad? Well, that just probably means you're going to have to put in some extra work and do what now you're wanting to do to be a more healthier eater. Hopefully your spouse or your partner, hopefully they'll gravitate to, but that may not happen. So for right now, you've just got to do separate and apart to make sure that you're getting the nutritional benefits and eat in a way that's going to protect and maintain your body, help to get you off the medication. And so really that's what they're getting when they come to me, Casey, is the full analysis before we determine what direction that person is going to go with their health and fitness.
That is all the time that we have for you today on Healthy and Wealthy Conversations. I want to thank our guest, Bridgette L. Collins, for stopping on by, and you, the audience, for watching. Thank you. Have a great day.